What is going on, you guys? Petplatypus here, and it is time to do another Young Justice double review, because it's been a little bit, starting with Episode 5, Beneath. I don't really have any strong feelings about this episode one way or the other. I enjoyed it while I was watching it. I think it's a good episode overall, because I don't think the series has bad episodes per se, but it was, it was pretty good. I wasn't really too interested in the all-girls squad and what they were doing. I mean, nothing was really wrong with any of their characters. I mean, Miss Martian, obviously, I'm interested in because she's Miss Martian, but I don't really care, about any of the others. They weren't really that interesting. They weren't bad. Like, none of their personalities were, like, annoying or bothersome. The main focus was Wonder Girl, and she was basically just kind of upbeat and cheerful, which is, not bad to watch unless it's, like, too overboard and annoying, but it wasn't clearly, so she was cool learning how to do stealth or whatever. They think she can't do stealth because she's, Wonder Girl, which that's fair. A Wonder Woman, not exactly the most stealthy from what I've seen in DC animated movies, but yeah, it's got some cool action at the end on the plane, and all that stuff's really cool. And they're kidnapping all those people, sending them off to some partner. Who's this partner? We don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting little setup. It's cool. It's obviously setting things up for later. It doesn't tie in as heavily to the main plot that we were getting before, but it does set up other things. So in terms of story progression, there is a bit there. Some tiny little characterization / character development on Wonder Girl, I suppose. And then the other plot line of the episode, I don't know if I liked this more or if I didn't like this at all. Like, it's kind of weird. I liked seeing Blue Beetle again. I liked seeing where he lives. Clearly not a very high-class neighborhood. And he's got this friend, and his friend wants to leave, and he gets kidnapped by these people, And I was wondering how this all ties together, and then, see there, ties together, and then Ty was at the end, kidnapped by the same people, being sent off to some partner that we don't know who that is yet. So yeah, they all tied together. I can't, the pun writes itself, I can't avoid it, but so that was a cool way of tying the two things together. Every time I say it, something goes off in my brain that's a fucking pun now. Oh my god. Anyways, that's cool, and I liked seeing him interact with some of the characters. The dick boyfriend was just kind of a dick boyfriend. He was whatever. The old man, though. The old man, I wasn't feeling. I wasn't feeling the old man. I get that he was supposed to be annoying, but the reason why I'm not feeling him is because he didn't feel like Young Justice humor. Maybe that's a nitpick. Maybe I'm like going too far into this little mini scene that wasn't even that big of a deal in the episode, but I don't know, he just didn't feel like Young Justice sense of humor. He felt out of place, like he was from a different cartoon. I don't know, it was just weird. But other than that minor thing, overall the episode is pretty solid. I'd probably give it like a solid 7 out of 10, 7.5. It's a good episode. I'm interested to know who this mysterious partner is, why they're harvesting people and putting them in these pods and sending them off and shit. I don't know if it's harvesting per se, but they're being sent off for some reason. And, yeah, some of the fighting was cool on the airplane, and overall I enjoyed it, but it was nothing to, blow my socks off. It was just kind of a good episode of Young Justice. So, moving on to Episode 6. Okay, so Episode 6, Bloodlines. Okay, so this was an amazing episode. I hope I don't run too long on this one, but there is a lot to talk about. The basic plot is that Impulse comes back in time, this character who we've never seen before. We don't know if he's really the Flash's grandson. We find out at the end of the episode, but as we're watching the episode, we don't know if he's the Flash's grandson. It could be all bullshit. He seems a little shady with some of the things that he says, but he's fun, and he runs around, he meets the Flash, he meets his Flash's wife, he meets the old Speedster, I forget his name, and he meets Wally and everything, and it's cool. It's interesting to see all the interactions. And then the villain shows up called Neutron. And he knew the name Neutron, even though he never actually shouted out, "I am Neutron, I am evil," but he claimed he did because he doesn't want to fuck up the timeline. And he gives him the little blue ball pill thing. It fixes him, it heals his body, and it's like, how'd you know to heal him? And then you have these other guys who were saying things like, oh, you're gonna crash the mode and blah blah, and they were doing experiments on Neutron. And they were in control of him, but his power was too great, and they aborted the mission. And it's like, okay, well, they were saying things like the mode is going to crash and shit, so are they from the future as well? So is Impulse working with them? But then you get the full story, and you see that he's from 40 years in the future, and that big crater that they're in is Mount Justice, which I thought was a really cool reveal. And he goes through time, and the dude does heal. He's like, okay, yeah, I'm fixed, I'm better. but then everything is still destroyed in a total wreck, and it's just like, what happened? What's going to happen? Did he actually fail in fixing everything that's going to go down? Or it's a really, really interesting, really intense ending to the episode, which I really, really loved. And just the fact that he wasn't evil or bad or anything, I think was really cool, because he is going to stick around and he is a cool character. I love the voice actor. I don't remember the name. I checked the credits, and it's not a name I remember or recognize, but I definitely recognize the voice, and he's definitely a good voice actor who has a really distinct sound. It's a distinct sound to his voice that still sounds like a normal person, if that makes sense. I don't know. I've heard him before, though, and he's definitely a good actor. I can't wait to see more of Impulse, because he's a funny character. I guess that's just like the Speedster thing to do, is just be funny, because that's what they all try to do. But it was really cool seeing like all four of them in action, even if it was brief with the old one. It was really cool to see all four there. Definitely going to be my thumbnail for this episode. But yeah, it was a really enjoyable, really fun episode. The stuff they set up with the time travel and those people who were controlling Neutron, really, really interesting, really, really cool. Can't wait to see what's going to happen there, because that was really cool setup. So you have the story progression there. The animation was fantastic. It was kind of interesting seeing the power gap between Kid Flash and the Flash and Impulse, because they actually have the same blood. And Kid Flash, what was Kid Flash? I believe he briefly mentioned at one point, he was like, I recreated the scenario so he could tap into the Speed Force. But I guess his is just nowhere near to the same level. But yeah, but if he's not as fast as they are, then I doubt he'll ever learn how to do the molecular thing. So, because when they first said he would, he couldn't do it, I thought, oh, maybe he'll learn it at some point, but maybe he's not capable, I don't know. But, yeah, Impulse was cool, a little annoying a couple times, but I know he was supposed to be annoying the characters, and he was still funny. But yeah, and he saved the Flash, and I think a lot of the stuff he was doing in the episode, whether he was being annoying on purpose or fucking up on purpose or whatever, I'm pretty sure it was to, be discreet about changing the future and everything. He wasn't as dumb as he let on. And he didn't seem like he was a total idiot, but he seemed a little absent-minded, very carefree, but I think it was very clear, based on what we saw at the end of the episode and going forward in the episode itself, he was definitely just kind of playing carefree. He definitely wants to save the future and everything, and it's going to be interesting. He knew it was a one-way trip and everything, so yeah, it's going to be cool. I think he should probably tell them, but again, you don't want to fuck with the time stream. I kind of get where he's coming from, so let's have to wait and see what happens, but he's definitely an interesting character, and I think it's going to be really, really cool. But yeah, I thought, and it's funny too, because the old guy didn't even have to show up. Like, they didn't have to write in that the old guy just came out of nowhere and swooped in, but it was still really cool to see all four of them on screen, so I'll forgive it, even though that was kind of forced in there. But all around, this episode was easily a solid 9 to 10 out of 10. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. The animation, the sound design, the plot of the episode, the ending. Oh, and I didn't even talk about the fucking Red Arrow shit. And then you have the Red Arrow shit, where he actually finds Speedy's body. He actually finds it. They're face to face. Well, Speedy's fucking knocked the fuck out, but still, they're face to face. And he sees the missing arm, and you got Cheshire there, and some of the action there is kind of cool. If Superboy had been involved, there was an Uncharted reference just waiting in the wings, because they were in Tibet, stealthing their way through. The Red Arrow does have the Nathan Drake haircut, but yeah, and they get caught because of the baby, and that was one thing I thought too, is like, why would you bring the baby on this mission? And I was thinking like, well, where's Cheshire gonna leave the kid? And it's like, with your sister. And it's, yeah, Red Arrow does say, we should have left it with your sister. So, yeah, that was kind of I'm glad the writers knew. The writers were aware that that's a possibility. Does that mean that Cheshire and Artemis are on good terms now? Like, I'm not too sure what's going on there, but hopefully questions will be answered. We'll just have to wait and see, but yeah, I don't really have much else to say, but that was another really big plot progression moment for the series, even if it was very detached from the main plot line. Unlike the previous episode where the two things met and tied together, this was completely detached, but it was continuing a storyline from previous episodes. It was an arc of the series overall. But yeah, so that wrapped up. Well, not wrapped up, but it made major leaps in progression, and then the rest of the episode was, of course, fantastic. So it easily gets a 10 out of 10. I'm tempted to give it the 11, but I almost feel like I'm giving the series too many 11s. Like, it's like if I give 11 too much, it's gonna, like, ruin what it's worth, you know what I mean? But it was such a good episode that I really, really enjoyed. But I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the other ones that I gave such a score to, but regardless, it was a great episode. I absolutely loved it. Easily a 10 out of 10 episode. I don't really have any problems with it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. So, with all that being said, what did you guys think of these episodes of Young Justice? You can tell me in the comment section below. Also follow me on Instagram or add me on PSN. I'm petplatypus on both. You can also give this video a thumbs up and share it on social media. Both those would help me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already or if you like what you've seen here. If you watched the entire video, you must have liked it at least a little bit, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.